Hi, I'm Sharon.
And I'm Gary.
And we're Rough Road RV Life.
And we like looking at freedom.
Every day.
And today's topic is going to be what, my dear? Tell me what we're talking about today so I can pay attention to the intro.
We wanted to share with you today two things. One, how we got from Collier Memorial State Park over to the Oregon coast. There was some mountains we had to go over, so we had to look at different routes that we could take. The second thing that we're going to share, and probably most importantly, is how to drive through the mountains and the hills while pushing and pulling 28,000 pounds. We have a Class A motorhome and we're towing an Acura MDX. So I'm going to let the driver share what he learned and, well, I guess what maybe you already knew, but what he got really good at over that drive. On the road to the Oregon coast.
That I would do, and it really doesn't matter whether it's a Class A or a fifth wheel or what, it's know the dimensions and weight of what you're carrying. Now, before we left our home base in Ocala, Florida, we were at a Petro truck stop dumping for the day, but before we did that, we went over and weighed because our gray tank was full, our black tank was full, we had a full water tank, we had the dogs in there, and everything that we were going to carry with us was on board, and we even had hooked the Acura up to have it towed and weighed also, so we would know how much our total weight was for the RV, the motorhome in this case, and the Acura, so we know how much weight we're pulling. And you should also know the dimensions of your RV, and we measured ours from the ground to the top of the dome antenna, so we would know how high it is. We measured the length, and then we measured the length with the Acura on the back, and we measured the width, and we also measured our ground clearance up front bumper from the front to the ground with the airbags retracted and extended. So, and we wrote it all down so we have it handy up front so that we know our clearances. So that was the first thing that you should know. And then the second thing is, as far as driving your motorhome or your fifth wheel through mountainous roads. Well, the first thing that I do is I have a way of blocking off this right ear from the sound effects that are going on in the passenger seat. All the oh my God! If
you want to see a sampling of that, just check out our Angel Lake video.
Oh my God, curve.
But nothing will make you aware of what you're doing more than videoing yourself.
So once you get past that part, the most important thing, I guess the number one thing is for me is slow down. Do not go fast. Don't try to do what the speed limit signs say. If there's people behind you, eventually there'll be a place for you to move over or slow down. They can go around you. If not, they just have to wait. You're not familiar with those roads like the locals are, so you don't know the ins and outs. So slow down. Usually if I'm going down a 6 or 7% grade, hopefully you'll never get more than 7. You better have your seatbelt on because you'll be falling forward. But I'm probably not doing more than 45 miles an hour. And usually if you're not alone, it could be semi-trucks in front of you or behind you. You put your flashers on, you get in line, and you just coast down because you're not talking about just going down and leveling out. Some of those grades go on for 5, 6, 7, I think one was 9 miles before we finally dropped from 5,000 feet down to less than 1,000 feet. So that they just go for a while, and you don't want to hit your brake and heat your brakes up and lose your brakes. So you want to be able to drive pretty much brake free. And how you do that is as soon as you see one of those grade signs with the truck nose pointed straight to the ground, you take your foot off the accelerator, start slowing down, and then when you come to the grade, you're going to want to downshift. Now, different vehicles have different amount of gears. Some have 5 speeds, 6 speeds, 7 speeds. I have a 6-speed. So you're going to have to bump it down a gear to put it in 5. For me, it'd be 5. Sometimes I even have to go to 4. And if it gets really very steep, I may even have to use my engine retarder or jake brake, as they call it. And to keep it going down at around 40, 45, so that I don't have to press on my brake, and it doesn't take long to heat your brakes up, and that's just, you don't want to do that. And another issue for me, and you should check your owner's manual of your tow vehicle. My tow vehicle, my Acura MDX, in my manual it says I cannot tow it over 65 miles an hour. So if I'm doing, say, 60 miles an hour normal, and I come up to one of those grade signs coming up, and I'm already doing 60, by the time I go over the top of that grade and start down, it's not going to take long before I'm hitting 70. And now I'm over my maximum tow speed of my tow vehicle. So that's why immediately when I know there's a grade coming up, and usually we know when there's a pass or something coming up, because we check the atlases and all, I will take my foot off and start decelerating so that I'm already down to that 45 or 50 before I ever start on my downhill journey, so that I'm not over going past the speed restrictions on my tow vehicle. Plus, I want to drive safe, and I want to keep my vehicle under control and not use my brakes and use my gears and my engine retarder to keep me at a safe speed.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, we have a diesel pusher. How would this be different for a gas-powered vehicle? Or would it be? No,
you would still downshift. Like when I had my pickup truck in my boat, when I would pull my boat with my pickup truck, my truck had a tow mode, which would actually cuts out the overdrive on the transmission. And if you're in a pickup truck, the same thing would apply. If you come over one of those crests and you're going downhill and it's a steep grade, you would downshift on your transmission. You probably already have it in tow mode to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You may not have an engine retarder on your pickup truck, but then you're not, you're probably not doing the weight. But some of them weigh that much though. Different, but the thing is, the speed that you're going at, be safe speed. I've seen some of them go flying by me though. Bigger motor homes. Maybe we've got dual tires in the back, but just single axle. Some of the bigger motorhomes with dual axle maybe they can go faster and have braking and all that's different. But that's where you have to know your own motorhome to know what its limits are and capabilities are, so that you can drive it safely going down these grades around curves. And in our case, sometimes we had, like, I would say 25 to 35 mile an hour crosswinds bucking us too.
Yeah.
Which so you're going down and getting blown, so you really just got to be safe and slow down. Don't worry about what that limit sign on the sign says, and people behind you, they're going to get where they got to go to.
Bottom line, I would say, be safe. Do what's safe and what feels right. So people are going to stack up behind you sometimes when you are traveling with a motorhome or a pull behind. Just depends on whatever your rig is. And you can't let that rattle you if you're going at the speed that you need to go to. They can go around you. There's a lot of places will have pull-offs you can pull off, or there'll be passing lanes. So I know Gary does a really good job of watching and seeing, okay, well, somebody's coming up. They're probably local, want to get around us. And so he'll even kind of adjust speed so they can go around.
Yeah, I'll slow down and let them go around, because they'll just zoom right around you.
Yeah.
And like my wife said, most of these grades that you're going to go down to, they're well marked, and they're going to have the turnouts or the passing lanes, and you just pull over, take your foot off the accelerator, slow down, and let that row of cars get around you, then pull them back over and keep on going. You know, the thing is that you just can't let it get to you. You just got to stay calm and just, because that grade, eventually, you know, you'll get back on flat ground. And sometimes it seems like forever, but
It can't go down forever.
You think, is this downhill ever going to stop? And usually that's preceded by a very long uphill.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got a long uphill you're going up, sooner or later you're probably going to go down. So you got to start watching.
Okay, whew. I think we're about down off this mountain.
You look down to 1,000 feet, hon. Drop 4.
We were at 5,000. We're at 1,000.
Okay, it's not going to be long. But a lot like the trucker atlas that we use in Motor Carry Atlas, it's got the passes pretty much marked in there. And there was actually one pass.
Pretty beat up.
Yeah.
It's used.
There's one pass that we were coming back on our way back, I believe from Oregon, Washington, and that area. And the posted speed limit for vehicles over 12,000 pounds, and this was a pretty steep pass, was 35 miles an hour. So if you weighed 12,000 pounds or more, you by law, by the speed limit, you couldn't go over 35. And at one point, it even dropped to 25.
Yeah.
So you just fall in line with the trucks. You have your flashers on. Put your flashers on. Take yourself down the hill until you get to the bottom.
Right. Know where you're going ahead of time and do some research. When we set out on our way to Oregon, we still are fairly newbies, I would say.
Yeah.
I was using Google Maps and this Trucker's Atlas. I had not yet pulled the trigger on RV Wizard. Was still thinking, you know, well, I've got this under control. But there was a little element of unknown even with this. And of course, we went online and we would check out a road.
Right. We would use Google Earth to look at the road on Google Earth to see what it looked like, you know, from the satellite perspective.
Yeah, we have since purchased RV Trip Wizard, and you can enter your dimensions, you can set in how far you want to go in a day and that sort of thing, and it's going to give you the best route for your vehicle. We love it now. I don't feel quite as anxious, and so when we do head out, the only thing is that I don't have a GPS that I can download it to, and I haven't successfully been able to get it to download to Google Maps. So I just double check my Google Map route and make sure that they match. Sometimes they do, and sometimes I have to put in waypoints to get it to match. I'll also know about the grades because you can see the grades on Trip Wizard, which is really nice.
Right. And also, we go through tunnels, and tunnels are a tunnel. And they're going to be this high in the middle, but sometimes toward the edges they may drop a foot. And sometimes they have a warning there, sometimes, but just keep in mind that you want to keep maybe toward the line and not try to get too close to the edge of that tunnel, just in case it slopes just enough that you might maybe clip it a little bit. Try to stay, toward the center where it's the tallest.
Right.
You know your measurements, and also the important thing about knowing how wide you are. And you probably will never have an issue with being too wide, but you will come into road construction along the way. And we have seen signs of vehicles over this width exit here or pull off up here. They'll have a pull off area. It's mainly, I think, for oversized loads. But if you know your width, then you can say, okay, I'm not that wide. It doesn't apply to me.
So when you're coming up on
you can keep on going.
It doesn't look that wide.
No, because they cut some of those. They put those cones in there. They cut them pretty tight sometimes.
Right.
Even the bridges that are in construction, when you're going over, there's not a lot of wiggle room there on some of them. And that, once again, is, slow down, safe speed that you can handle your vehicle with, and continue. And some of those construction zones go on for miles.
Yeah.
But eventually you'll come to the end of it and be able to keep on going. But and you may have people behind you once again, but you do what you have to do because you got to be safe.
Right. And so I want to say a little bit about traveling distances and taking a break. Typically, we will travel 200 miles a pop. We try to do no more than that. Every now and then it's a little more, a little less. But that's kind of our guideline. Well, this particular journey took us from 97 over to the coast, and that was 263 very windy, windy, up and down miles. So when it comes to driving, Gary's a pretty cool driver. He doesn't let a lot rattle him. So driving a rig this size through the mountains with the wind and just the unknowns, because we really didn't know what these roads were going to bring. So it was just a little bit stressful, and I'm already stressed because I'm not a good passenger. I'll admit it.
I don't know how she doesn't pass out over there.
Sometimes I think maybe a sleeping pill and just put myself to bed would be good, but I don't have any sleeping pills. But it was a long, grueling, white-knuckle day just due to the traffic, which, just because you had to slow down and then people would pile up and then trying to zoom around.
And the wind was just horrible that day.
Keep in control.
Sometimes you get the wind and then you get trucks passing you and the draft and
the ups and downs. We were gradually working our way down towards the coast, so we had a lot of downs, and it would be down, tunnel, curve. So it was a lot of paying attention. You just couldn't kick back and put cruise control on. Let me just put it that way.
And then once you get to the coast, you got mountain, ocean, road. The other roads,
no shoulder.
The other roads, you got some shoulders that you can do if you have to do that a little bit. It's okay, but once you get, like it was a Highway 101 on part of the Oregon coast there, till you get maybe farther north, or going through the little towns and whatnot, you got rock and you got water.
Right.
And I concentrate on what I'm doing, and I drive at a speed I feel safe at. That's the whole secret of this, is not overdriving your safe zone. Maybe different than my safe zone. Because there are people that go flying by me, and I'm thinking, that's not me. But
it's not. And for anyone who's traveling, maybe you're new at this, and maybe you're from a flat state like we are, and you're thinking, oh well, I'm never going there because that just sounds awful. It's not. It wasn't awful. We would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It just takes all of your attention. There's no sitting back and sipping a cup of coffee and having a conversation, because you're really needing to watch the road in many of those places, not the whole trip.
Yeah, for that 20, 30 minutes that you're under that stress, just concentrate on what you're doing, and drive at a speed you're comfortable, and your vehicle is comfortable at driving.
Right, exactly. Give yourself permission to pull over, take a break. So,
remember, we're full-time RVers, so when my wife said we drive 200 miles a day, we're not in a 2-week vacation destination mode where you got to get where you got to go, unpack, have your vacation, pack up, and then back to your job. We've done that. But we're full-timers now, and we're in no hurry.
Right.
We like to travel about 200 miles a week, and that's how we travel. It takes us a month sometimes to get through a state. But that's just us, and that's how we like to travel. We're going to be doing this for quite a few years, so we're in no hurry. Right. This is our life here. This is me, my wife. This is our possessions. We have our dogs and we just don't need to put anybody in danger.
No. Drive during the day. We avoid driving at night. We want to make sure that we're in camp and we're all set up before.
I'd say we're that noon to 4 drivers.
Yeah.
That's usually when we leave. We usually leave in our 11 to 12. And we usually get to where we're going 3:30 to 4:30. That's kind of our time frame that we like to travel.
Right. And it works for us.
Yeah.
We enjoy it a lot better. It's less stressful, and it just works. It may be different for you, but that's what we found. It's kind of our sweet spot.
For us. I think it's very important that you have your tire pressure correct. In your tires, so that your vehicle is riding like it's supposed to be, and your tires aren't underinflated where you could overheat them and possibly have a blowout, or overinflated. You can check your specs and adjust your tire pressure for the weight of your vehicle, how it feels. We also have a tire pressure monitoring system that we look at that tells us what our tires are running in real time, and also on our tow vehicle. And also the heat, how hot are they? So we know instantly, because
it'll go off.
It's got parameters that you set. Yeah. If it drops to a certain pressure, it starts beeping, and then you've got a tire going down. Right. Can't really do anything about a blowout because that happens.
Well, we said we were going to share how we got from Collier Memorial over to the coast, and we were going to share more importantly, how we did it.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a lot about how to drive through the mountains, but I did want to say a little bit about how the roads that we took. I was so nervous and always looking for someone to tell me, how did you get there? Somebody who had about the same size rig. So just so you know, we took 97 north.
Mm-hmm.
We left Collier Memorial State Park, which is a little bit south of Crater Lake, and we caught 58. So 58 goes east to west, so we took that over towards Eugene and went around Eugene, and the next road was let me make sure I'm telling you the right road. So it was Oregon 58, and then after we skirted Eugene, we caught Oregon 126, which also had a little bit of windy ups and downs to it as well.
Beautiful lakes.
Yeah, so it was beautiful. Oh, this drive was beautiful.
Yeah,
though.
it was
Beautiful.
very scenic.
Oh my goodness, that helped. Having a beautiful area to go to observe. We went there to Florence, which from around Eugene, 126 to Florence, and that's at the Oregon coast. And from there, we just caught 101 and went north to Beverly Beach State Park where we were staying. So, and then if you've never been on 101, it is indeed a beautiful, beautiful drive.
Very scenic drive.
Rocks and surf and bluffs, and it is up and down, but it is beautiful and doable. So that's the route that we took. If we had to do it again, I would definitely do it again.
Yeah.
Well, we hope that this helped you in your travels, or if you're new starting out, deciding how you're going to go from one place to another. Also, it helped you with driving through the mountains over the hills. I wanted Gary to talk about this because I need to know. So I always ask him to talk out loud. Tell me what you're doing so that I know when it's me sitting over there, I'll know what to do. Right. Be safe. That's the number one. Be safe. If it doesn't feel safe, do something different.
Do what's safe for you.
Right. We enjoyed sharing this with you, and we hope it helps. And if you like these videos, subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified.
Mm-hmm. Questions, drop them in the comments.
Right.
We're glad to share anything that we know about anything.
Right.
It may not be a lot, but we know a little about, at least a little bit about a lot of things, mainly through trial and error. And share your experiences, because we have learned so much just in talking to other people and reading and watching other videos. So it's definitely a sharing community out there. Follow our journey. We like looking at freedom. We'll see you on the road. Stay safe. Bye. Okay, we made it through 58, and we came up I-5 for a few miles, skirted around Eugene on the Beltway, and now we're on 126, heading west. Not bad, not bad. I'll take it.